And with that, let's bring in our panel, Gregg Jarrett, Fox News legal analyst, and Pam Bondi, former Florida Attorney General, also co-chair of the America First Policy Institute Center for Law and Justice. I think we got to begin with law and justice, Pam. Did we get that today?
Of course we didn't, Charles. This is unprecedented. New York has never brought a case like this ever in the history of New York that anyone can find. Yet they go after Donald Trump when crime in New York is at an all-time high. Letitia James should be out there fighting crime, and instead she went after Donald Trump and his family.
You know, Greg, I mean, listen, as a lay person, first and foremost, the judge had already determined the verdict before the trial, so-called trial, and I guess the testimony, we do have a 92-page ruling, was to determine the outcome or the number that we got today. Again, looking at it from the outside in, it feels pretty awkward. I couldn't follow it day by day, but the notion that Deutsche Bank had the wool pulled over their eyes and some of the most sophisticated banks out there were somehow fooled by President Trump, former President Trump, it just seems far-fetched.
Oh, it is. I mean, I think this case, Charles, you're right, was always legally unsound. Letitia James ran on the campaign promise to get Trump before she had access to files or evidence. And then when she took office and found no wrongdoing, what did she do? She dusts off this oddball consumer protection statute, contorts the facts, and suddenly claims fraud, even though at trial it was shown that nobody was defrauded and no consumers were harmed. In fact, the lending banks were more than happy to give Trump the money. They made enormous profits. Trump isn't the one who inflated the value of assets. No, he hired what business people do, outside real estate experts, respected accountants, top lawyers. They arrived at independent estimates, and the banks, they did their own due diligence. What did they find? That Trump had more than enough to secure the loans. So this judgment also completely undermines established common law, which requires proof of intent to deceive. There was none. And Goron, the judge, and the attorney general simply tossed that out the window. And they also violated the Constitution, penalizing incorrect commercial speech, which the First Amendment protects. You know, I think the bias of Judge Goron was on full display every day. Arrogant, smug, hostile, self-righteous. And I think he was obtuse when it comes to the law. I do not see this judgment against Trump surviving judicial scrutiny on appeal.
Yeah, he certainly was lapping up the limelight for sure. Pam, I'm going to ask you, because Greg brought up some of the things that are mentioned here in the summary, and one that caught my attention was the line that says lenders required personal guarantees from Donald Trump, which were based on statements of financial conditions that were compiled by accountants that Donald Trump engaged. Again, so Donald Trump hired accountants. They went through his financials. They put a stamp of approval on it. Then they gave it to banks who did their own due diligence. And here we are at $350 million. Again, I'm not sure how we got to this point.
Charles, we don't. And when the banks do their own valuation, even if you tried to say his accountants couldn't be objective, there's no way they get to that number. Not even close. And Mar-a-Lago, of course, is valued at way more than $18 million. That's a joke. Everything they did is ridiculous. It will 100% be reversed. They all know it's going to be reversed. All they have is a short-term goal of getting Donald Trump. They're trying to bankrupt him. They're trying to ruin him. They're trying to ruin his sons and his business in New York. And the only reason they didn't do the lifetime ban, which they wanted to do, is they're trying to act like they're reasonable, and they are not, and it will be reversed on appeal. But they don't care.
Now, so, Greg, walk us through that appeal process. When does it begin? How long does it normally take? Obviously, it would be a lot longer until the elections will have come and gone by then.
Well, I mean, Trump knew where this was going. For goodness sakes, you know, the judge ruled he committed fraud before there was even a trial. And then, of course, you know, it sort of backfired because the banks took the stand and said, we weren't defrauded. He was a whale. We wanted to do more business. We made so much money from him. So, but they could see where Engoron was going. So they have been working diligently for weeks, if not months, on their appeals. Right. So it'll be filed first with the appellate court above, and then eventually perhaps the New York highest court, which is actually not called the Supreme Court. It's a little different here. Look, most of the judges and justices are not, Republicans or conservatives, so it's going to be tough going. In the end, you can always try to appeal federally as well on constitutional grounds that I cited in my first remarks here. Sure. So, this is going to be a very long process. In the meantime, there are going to be a stay of some of this. He'll have to post a bond for the judgment, a portion of it, but it's going to be a long appellate process.
In this long process, Pam, and taking all the legal issues together, many are saying now the law is simply being used as a weapon, a political weapon, against the former president. Explain to the audience just how egregious this might be.
Well, Charles, it is. And remember, when Letitia James ran for Attorney General multiple times, she campaigned on getting Donald Trump. There's video after video after video of her out there campaigning on saying she was going to put him out of business. So to have the highest state law enforcement officer in New York do that should really frighten everyone. Every business in New York should be very fearful right now, because if they're going after Donald Trump, they can go after anyone. And that should scare everyone. It's a two-tiered system of justice.
The first thing I thought about is how many business books may have to be rewritten or edited because, the art of the deal. I mean, this is, you become a billionaire in this country and it's like you could go back and relitigate how someone became extraordinarily successful, had coattails, brought thousands of people along for the ride, improved their lives, improved the city. Listen, I don't know that you even want to talk about how successful you've been. But I want to stick with you on this, Pam, because today was supposed to be the second day of testimony down in Georgia for of course, a Fulton State County District Attorney Fani Willis. That was so riveting yesterday. Now, from a legal perspective, I'm going to get your legal perspective, but from a non-legal perspective, I think the reality TV show should air immediately. But Pam, what do you make of it? Because we saw the personal vitriol that a lot of folks say are running through all of these legal cases.
We sure did. And yeah, from a non-legal perspective, it was great TV because the American people got to see her firsthand in action. Her demeanor, she was vicious. She yelled at the defense attorneys. She thought she was the judge and the prosecutor, and she got away with a lot of it. But that's okay. She had a lot of rope, and I think it hurt her in the end. I know it hurt her in the end. Look at her demeanor up there while she's talking. She pointed at people. She waved papers around. Everyone sees her biased. All these cases are going hand in hand in hand around the country, and the common theme is the prosecutors hate Donald Trump.
Greg?
Yeah, Fani Willis proved that lawyers make lousy witnesses. Her lover, Nathan Wade, his testimony was such a train wreck that she really sprinted to the witness stand to try to fix it. And then she has this meltdown, a tantrum of belligerent rants. She even yelled at the judge, for God's sakes, who, banged his gavel and called a recess and had to scold her. But here's the important point. Wade and Willis both admitted their sexual affair, even though they claim, it didn't begin until after he was hired, not before. It doesn't make a particle of difference. The affair itself, Charles, regardless of when it started, is a severe conflict of interest, an obvious impropriety, and a violation of the canons of ethics. That merits disqualification. Whether the judge will see it that way, that's hard to tell. If he doesn't disqualify Willis, that doesn't end it. It can be appealed. That only delays any future trial.
Greg, I hear you on the relationship part, but I think also people are wondering the use of taxpayer money. And of course, that's where you saw both saying, hey, listen, everything that was reimbursed in cash. There's no paper trail. There are no receipts. And from the judge's perspective, how does a judge take that? Because you have to say, okay, everything, including $2,500 here, $300 there, whatever it was, all these vacations, all of these trips, all of these interludes were paid with a credit card, but they were always reimbursed. How likely is it that the judge is going to buy that?
Well, I didn't think it passed the smell test. I don't think any sentient person was buying the cash explanation, except maybe Senator Bob Menendez, who prefers both cash and gold bars. Willis's misconduct has damaged her own case. Yeah. The public's perception has ruined her credibility, and the jury, I guarantee you, Charles, will know that this case is now tainted.
Yeah, and Pam, I mean, not just the jury, but I think, and listen, I read a lot of liberal publications over the last 24 hours, and for the most part, they're fuming. They're really upset that she went out there and pulled this stunt. And, the idea is that maybe she was watching this, got upset, threw on the dress because now, of course, we all know it was on backwards, and went out there out of pure emotions. And again, it makes it feel like this has all been personal against President Trump.
Yeah, it was, Charles. And legally, here's what's going to happen. I think Nathan Wade has a very good chance of getting disbarred if they can prove he had answered interrogatories under oath, and then he came in and testified under oath. That's potential perjury, given his two different statements, right, both under oath. And I think Fani Willis is in big trouble with the bar, and I don't think these defense attorneys are finished. I think they're going to get bank records, they're going to get phone records, and she's going to be in big trouble because this was thousands and thousands of dollars that she said she reimbursed him in cash, and there is no way that they're not going to be able to prove that they're going to be able to prove it's not true. She didn't do it, and she's probably going to lose her job over this.
Gregg Jarrett, Pam Bondi, thank you both very much.